I think we're back. We're back. It's the Business Building Book Club. Welcome, my friends. Whether you are here live or on the replay, we value your time. And this week, Business Building Book Club, we are back reading Gary V's Genius as usual. We're reading Jab, 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 Right Hook this week, special edition, because it's book report week. That means each of us has been assigned a separate chapter. We've delved into it, and we're going to share it with you, share it with the group, and we're going to start some questions because, well, these are 3 platforms that we all wondered, are they still relevant? So let's get the conversation going. Let's just dive straight into it because we know everyone's doing well. Right? If you're watching live or on the replay, let us know where you're tuning in from, and let us know what books you think we should read later on in the season. I'm always looking for suggestions. So first, of those 3 platforms, we picked 3 platforms out of this book that we honestly thought were irrelevant at this point. And so we're going to challenge that assumption today. And those 3 platforms are Pinterest, Tumblr, and Twitter. So join us, buckle in. This is going to be a great adventure. And we're going to start with Mark. Tell us what chapter you read. Tell us everything.
What's up? What's up, my visibility hacking family out there? Just wanted to say hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Yes. I tell you, I am getting so much more background about Gary Vee as I go through this book. This is kind of my first exposure to him. I hadn't been a super big follower of his, and I have never really dug deep into his philosophies, but the more I begin to read, and then I even look back at our past episodes, and I'm like, this book has been very, very interesting. Just don't even think about the year of the book. Just think about the underlying principles that he learned this over multiple years being in the wine industry. That's where he got his start from, right?
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, how could he know so much about all these platforms? But what I'm finding in the chapters is during the beginning, he lays this foundation about the platform and about its tendencies and the community and the demographics and the psychographics. And then it becomes this example of good examples and then not so good examples. And you get to see he rolls through there. And it's funny. You guys, he's a super big sports fan, and you hear him talk about Sports Center a lot. And then he says in one part, he says, he talks about Reggie Bush, and he talks about his social media. He says, you know what? If Reggie Bush was still with the Dolphins, I would really dog him because I hate the Dolphins. But now that he's with Detroit, I hate to give out this bad critique. But my chapter was Pinterest. Pinterest, still an active social media platform today. I just want to. I'll give you some of the biggest takeaways from the chapter, what he said then, and what's kind of the norm today. In the very first part of it, he talks about when it started, how many users that it had, and then it talked about one of the biggest thing about Pinterest, I'll tell you, is the demographics. The demographics of Pinterest are 5-to-1 female over male. 5-to-1. It is, and he goes on to say in the very first paragraph, unless unless you sell a product that no woman in a million years would buy, then you should be on Pinterest in some way or another. If I were to, this was a really, maybe I knew it, but it was really a great realization because, when you're online, you start to recognize who your customers are. If I had 60-year-old men being my customer that I attracted, then I would, I would know that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when I was like starting out my career when I was a digital photographer, that's like all my clients at that point were women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, all my clients today are pretty much all still women, even in the coaching space, which I found kind of like funny. But
Me too.
I love working with women. Honestly,
Oh,
God,
yeah.
they're super fun to work with, and they're just they know what they want, and it's really, really fun. But
Exactly.
I noticed Pinterest. I was using Pinterest a lot because my clients at the time, that's where the models were able to put collages together where they were like, oh, I like these photo shoot ideas. I like these poses. I like these styles. And then we were able to share collages back and forth to each other. And we were able to have collaborative I guess collages as well, right? Where we can both add examples as we went and made this really cool storyboard. And then when we finally got to the shoot day, it was like the guessing game was gone. We just had to be like, okay, I know exactly where I can shoot that and how. I know exactly where I can shoot that and how. And then we would just kind of go down the list. And at the end of the day, we had like amazing portfolio of probably about 20-25 images. But yeah, no, Pinterest was great for that. It was good for the collage building of things.
Yeah.
So now they're getting a little bit more into video, but I don't really know how many people use it for video, because I do feel like, if based on the example that I gave, if you like the specific video idea, why wouldn't you just show me like an Instagram reel? Right. I feel like if Molly or you had an idea, I think the first link naturally that you would send me is be like, yo, I saw this on Instagram, we got to do this. Not I saw this on Pinterest, we got to do this. Right? So
well, interesting. I've heard some people actually, they save the pans. They save the pans for ideas to come back and use later. You make great points, Lefty.
I love Pinterest for that idea collecting.
Yeah.
So I have my personal boards, which are exactly what Lefty was talking about. Photo shoot ideas. That is my bread and butter on Pinterest for the most part. And then I also have I'm going to call it my Gary V Wine Club pins. So those are the pins related to my non-entrepreneurial work. So I do a lot of outdoor programming. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. So I have so many boards filled with great educational ideas, great activity ideas. And I don't know if we have the ability to collect ideas on any other platform the way that we can on Pinterest, which I really like. But Mark, tell us more about what you learned.
Right. And save them. It was that he says that when you post on social media, I'm going through it and I'm listening to his credentials about Pinterest and about how he that's how he got a really good audience of his the female audience. And I'm right there with you, Lefty. My ideal customer's name, my ideal, how you give your ideal avatar a name? Sharon.
Ooh, Sharon.
Oh, baby.
No,
you know what? I
don't say that because they're probably watching right now.
No, you know
go,
what?
Sharon, go.
For me, look, for me personally, the reason, and I don't know, maybe there's maybe I can get a woman's perspective on why women gravitate more towards working with me. But reason why
It's the Jason Momoa.
but realistically, the one thing that I love the most when it comes to that to working is I find that women tend to be a little bit more ballsy than men when it comes to any sort of creative work. I notice that sometimes I'm almost like pulling at teeth in order to get the shot that I know is going to work, where when I'm working with a woman, they're just like, F it, whatever works for the shot, I'm doing it, I'm there, I don't care, right? And I feel like it makes the workflow a lot smoother and a lot easier, just because, you know, and it probably it's probably due to the fact that women make more emotional choices as opposed to men that make more logical choices. So I can understand why guys would be like, well, wait, why does he want me to do that shot? Where a female will understand and be like, hey, I get why he wants to do that shot. I think it's going to look good too. I don't care. Let's just do it. Whatever he wants me to do, I'll just take the shot, or whatever the case might be. And that's the one thing that I love working with women, is they're just more ballsy.
And I wonder if we bring that back to Pinterest, I wonder, this is going to be so stereotypical, but women as the gatherers, right? Like if we think about Pinterest, we're gathering ideas and we keep them in a central location.
Yeah.
So I wonder if, like, I'm not saying hunters versus gatherers, but
yeah,
if women are gathering these ideas and we're immersing ourselves in that process, we're eliminating the ones we're not interested in, we're gathering the ones that give us that emotional rush. So I wonder if your clients who go through that process of coming up with their own boards are able to be more creative and be more flexible within the project guidelines, because they've already immersed themselves in what they want. And so they're kind of more fluent in the visual language. Sorry to get super nerdy about that.
That's true, though.
That's good.
But I wonder, versus I've worked a lot of the men, like in the business world that I've worked with, are so steeped in their ego. And they're very strong in the image that they are projecting. They are very particular about that. Yes, women can do that too, absolutely. And sometimes we take it to an extreme. But I found that a lot of the men that I work with, when I'm trying to get that personality out of them on camera, they're kind of stuck, because they're like, that's not me. This is the image that I'm portraying.
Controlling.
Yeah. So I wonder if Pinterest is giving these clients the ability to have that more comfortable language and that fluency in what they're trying to create. I don't know.
Absolutely. And I think Pinterest also, I think what really made that platform blow up the most is Pinterest is used largely in the wedding industry.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So imagine how many people get married every single year, and you just have bride after bride after bride just making her boards. And it's definitely a game changer when you have like a multi-million-dollar industry, if not billion-dollar industry, using the platform for one specific thing.
Yeah. In here, he really talked about what you're using the pins for, and he talks about make sure to include links as well. Make sure to link out. It's a really good platform to link out. Once someone sees the idea, and that's what you want to put inside of their head, you want to help the audience dream. Help the audience dream, and help them dream out of the ordinary. And that's what you wanted. That's what you want to do on Pinterest to get the most engagement, and to quote Gary Vee, crush it.
Yeah. And that's interesting because a lot of platforms, we were discussing, I think last week, a lot of platforms are hesitant when you put links or links out, but Pinterest seems to say, no, this is what we want. This is the point of our platform, which is cool.
Yes. I went into it thinking bulletin board,
Yeah.
and I came out of it thinking in-flight magazine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Super colorful. Browsing through and discovering new ideas. And when you go into it with that, and then okay, I love the 70% female thing too, though. I do love it. Okay, to wrap up Pinterest, I want to go to the questions. When you're going to be on Pinterest, I just want to go to the questions. If you're out there listening, you might want to bookmark this spot, get a pen out and write this down. These are the questions to ask when you're posting on Pinterest content. Does my picture feed the consumer dream? Did I give my boards clever, creative titles? 3, have I included a price when appropriate? And 4, does every photo include a hyperlink? And then 5, could this pin double as an ad or act as an accompanying photo to an article featured in a top flight magazine? So those are 5 questions to ask when you're posting on Pinterest content. I should have said that first, right? That should have been the hook. That's what happens when it's live and it's unrehearsed.
You're here with us, like we're all hanging out, having our morning beverage.
Yes. So listen to the hook first and then rewind it. 5 questions to ask.
Brilliant.
Thanks for watching, Sharon.
Go, Sharon, go.
What's your experience with your demographics, Molly? You primarily men, or?
Oh my goodness. So I went into this with I did the customer avatar project where you come up with a male and a female customer avatar, and boy, oh boy, was I wrong.
Oh, really?
And I found that while I was trying to speak to those people, I was actually the people who were listening was a completely different demographic. So I was able to shift those customer avatars a little bit more. And well, behind the scenes story, there's customer avatar and then there's audience avatar. And I'm in this process of realizing where those overlaps are so I can play in that space a little bit more. But definitely I realized I was trying to attract females, and I was entirely attracting men.
Really?
My demographics skew heavily male, which this is like weird to talk about in a group full of other guys and not other women, but here's the behind the scenes.
Okay.
I honestly was shocked when I saw this increase of male viewers and engagement and all of this, because I was doing nothing to attract men. I wasn't wearing makeup. I wasn't doing my hair. I wasn't dressing in any particularly attractive way. I was doing nothing to attract the male eye. But I found that because I wasn't doing that and I was just being casual me, I attracted not the eyes of men who were like, ooh, I just want to watch you because you're cute to look at. But I was getting people who wanted to engage in the conversation, which I thought was really interesting. And for a lot of female creators, you have to kind of weigh those two different views, those two different sets of viewers. And I found I'm really proud of myself that I have this great community where it's not about what we look like. It's not about hooting and hollering at each other. It's about the substance and the content. And I thought that was kind of cool. So that's why
Absolutely.
I'm still in my pajamas with no makeup on. Heck yeah.
Yes, Molly, let's go.
That's encouraging to hear for some women out there, probably, right?
Absolutely. And like for all of you ladies out there, including Sharon, wherever you are out there, seriously, I went through this revolution last year where I decided makeup was no longer going to be an obstacle that was going to stop me from creating content. I found that it became my crutch. It became my excuse. And then the spiral happens where you start comparing yourself to the other creators and you're like, I get these hilarious comments on my YouTube channel where people are talking about how old I look. And I'm like, guys, really? I am happily my age. Like, I just had another birthday. It was a good birthday. I'm not 20 years old, but that's a good thing because the advice I'm giving you is not the advice of an inexperienced 20-year-old. Get with it. That's what you're seeing here. You're seeing someone who isn't going to be focused entirely on what I look like as much as I'm focused on giving you the relevant information and the content that's actually going to make a difference. So women, you're all beautiful, no matter what you look like. Makeup, no makeup, hair done, no hair done, hiding behind a virtual figure on your videos, whatever you want. Focus on substance because that's what's really going to change.
Wow. Absolutely. No, look, the same thing goes for guys. Look, the same thing goes for guys too, right? I mean, we get like we always compare ourselves to other creators as well, based on either visual aesthetics or even if we think like someone's better looking than us, right? Like it happens to us too. Yeah, we just hide the feelings more. And then we're told to think a different way. But no, look, it hurts. It hurts us too, especially when we get older. We now more or less have like more dad bods as opposed to having the 6 packs and the big muscles, right? So, and then you see another creator who's like super jacked, and you're just like, damn, I can't even wear a tank top in my shots, But you just got to stop caring. You just got to stop caring, get out there, put the stuff out. Who cares what somebody else is thinking? Because, hey, you never know. That person that you might be feeling insecure about might also be feeling insecure about you, right? So you got to think about it like that. So we're all kind of insecure of each other in one way, shape, or form. So don't ever let that stop you from getting out there and putting content out.
Yeah. Everyone has a feeling. No one comes on camera without some type of feeling. If you don't have a feeling, then check your pulse. Yeah. It should excite you to turn on that camera. I was looking at a picture I posted just I was called to jury, summoned to jury this week, actually. And it's located in a part of downtown San Antonio, Texas, that for the locals, they take it for granted. But I love the architecture down there. It's not the Hollywood of the North, and you don't see as many super, super cool things going downtown Toronto as you do.
Not that cool.
Yes, it is.
It's San Antonio, but I love it. And I took a selfie. And then I didn't hesitate. I used to hesitate. I used to look and I say, oh man, look at that wrinkle. Oh, look at those gray hairs down there. Oh man.
Looking a little bit shiny on top.
But now it's whatever. But it's interesting because I never get comments about my appearance. And that's, when you say that, I'm realizing there's a difference between male and female creators. And it's something that you have to take into consideration. You can't ignore it with when you're reading these books, because there's the how to, the book standard, but then there's real humans involved and the way people really react to your content. Yeah. We as males never have to say, well, at least especially me, because I just have this clean head. I don't know for Lefty, he might have to blow dry his hair, but
Got hair enough for both of you.
You gotta, you know what? I'll gladly take a picture for you guys. Like, I literally like put my hair up in a towel the way women do. I will literally take a picture and send it to you guys after.
but
you don't sleep with your bonnet on?
No.
But that's something I hear from a lot of females, and it is the when you're doing the content, and you mentioned, Molly, that you don't have anything on, but now, okay, so we're not my chapter wasn't on really a photo taking thing, but it was really more images. But now there's filters.
Yep.
Filters. It's like, since this book has been written, think about since this book has been written and how filters have super infiltrated social media and photo taking. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's a difference between the time this book was written and now.
Absolutely. Oh, I dig
honestly
it.
I was there's just one filter on TikTok that gives you like instant makeup, right?
Yep.
I think it's called like glam something. I forgot what it's called,
Mhm.
but my wife used it on me, and I was like, "Oh damn!" I was like, "I'm pretty." No, like it's really an interesting filter to use on TikTok. But honestly, follow Molly's direction because your 60-year-old self will thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Go out, have photo shoots, enjoy, embrace.
Yeah.
Talking about photo shoots, I'm totally going to be selfish with this time for a sec.
Go ahead.
Lefty, I have this crazy idea, and I'm saying it right now because I am so pumped up based on the discussion we just had.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to get a membership at the I think it's Glass House Studio in Richmond Hill.
Okay.
The photo studio place. And then that way I'll be able to rent space for photo shoots on a monthly basis. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because why not create a photo shoot every month? You guys can do your own photo shoots. You can hire photographers if you want. Selfies. We can do all of this.
I hired a photographer and I know how to do it myself.
Exactly. So I think that's what I'm going to do. This is my birthday month. So I'm going to say for the next year, y'all are going to get monthly new photo shoots of this one right here for branding purposes.
But Molly, you can't be sleeping on the day that we're booking things, okay?
Oh.
Hashtag chronic illness.
but maybe you getting this subscription will hold you accountable to say, oh, I have to do this because now there's an investment behind it. And it was actually really funny that you say this before we jump into the next thing, is that I saw this video where it's like you work a 9-to-5 job, right? And your employer says you need to be here 9 o'clock every single day. And what do? You get your ass up and you go to work and you work at 9 o'clock or even 8:45 or whatever time you need to prepare yourself for. And you put yourself on a schedule. But when you have to do something for yourself at 9 o'clock in the morning, why are you so lenient with yourself, but you can not be lenient for somebody else? You should use that same methodology as if it's a 9-to-5, as if you are going to work. Whether it's the gym, whether it's, Molly doing a photo shoot, whether it's anything that you're doing, the videos, emailing, doing organic outreach, that time is still just as important as if you are physically working for somebody else. So don't be lenient just because it's your company and you can make your own hours. It doesn't work that way. Those people tend to plummet.
Yeah. Being a self-starter, being self-motivated as an entrepreneur, it's not a trait that everyone is very good at. That's why entrepreneurship
Yeah.
Oh,
I have notification OCD.
Oh, notification.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but it's that's the one thing that you're probably wondering, like, does Lefty literally just have his phone in his hand
Yes.
24 hours a day, just
I
waiting
have
for somebody?
literally asked that.
Okay,
Wow.
that's because the moment I see like a blue dot or something unread or my notifications just piling up, it brings me peace to know that that number is at 0. So never mind the fact that I probably have impeccable customer service skills, but it's also I hate seeing the number pile up. I hate it. Just give me your phone. I'll go through all of it for you. Like,
my 7,000 unread emails.
Absolutely.
Fabulous. You're hired.
Hey, look, I went to Greece for 2 months a month and a half in 2019, and I came back to like 600 emails. I blasted that in like 2 days. I couldn't do it. I could not see it. It bothered me so much.
I feel like if I was answering my notifications, I'd be doing that all day. And when I'm focused on doing something, for me to take that focus away and then come back and sort of refocus, it's just, for me, it's not time. So I'm a turn off notification person.
Well, I might not stop myself from doing a task to go do that. If something pops up, I'm not like I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
But my rapid response time has also led me to 5 discovery calls in 2 days. So
yeah, good point.
That's another thing too. When and look, I'm a firm believer of, if somebody wants to work with you, because look, I get messages at all hours of the night, and the one thing that my wife is slowly teaching me is that you still have to have boundaries, right? If a physical establishment locks its doors and closes its doors at 6 p.m. every night, you can sit there and bang on the door till you're blue in the face. Nobody is going to answer that door, right?
Yeah.
And my wife told me at one point, she goes, "Why the heck are you responding to somebody at 9:30 at night? Like, this is not the time to be doing business. I don't care who it is what she said to me."
And they're going to continue to do that.
It took me a while. Yeah, it took me a while to slowly start breaking that habit. Now, I'm not going to say I don't do that still, but I've been a little bit more mindful as to who I'm doing it with, right? Like, now I'm talking to more peers, somebody that I actually have a friendship with, as opposed to like a random person that just wants to work with me or book a call with me, right? And if everybody has this fear of, oh my God, like, if I don't answer this person, they're not going to talk to me. The best advice that I can give before moving on to the next part of this lovely book is, if somebody wants to work with you that badly, they will be there in the morning.
Yes.
And if they're not there in the morning, you know they didn't actually care to work with you that badly.
Yeah, you saved that time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. So I think it's my turn, because we're gonna save Twitter. We're gonna save Twitter for the end. So Tumblr. I was very excited to take on this chapter because Tumblr was a whole like cultural movement when I was in my 20s. Like, this was a place for angstiness to be. There was a very particular type of person who was on Tumblr. And so I was like, why is Gary V talking about this platform that like angsty teenagers hang out on? Well, let me tell you, my mind is blown. So Tumblr was established in 2007, and as of June 2013, it had 132 million monthly users, which is a lot more than I thought. And what actually, it was originally a WordPress theme that you can use. And so the difference between Tumblr, if you've never used it before,
I've never used it.
Tumblr is a micro blogging platform. So
Okay.
just as Twitter, which we'll talk about later on, Twitter is microblogging as well, where you're typing out text in short forms, right? If we look at the old school back 10 years ago, what were these platforms doing? Whereas Tumblr is a way, was literally created because the guy who created it was looking at his computer in WordPress, trying to write a blog, and was intimidated by that big empty square. And I know I have had that experience before. Anyone who has ever been to post-secondary school and or even high school and needs to write an essay, and you've procrastinated, you have that deadline, and now you're staring at a blank text box and you don't know where to start. And you might be like me, where you...
Are you there?
Oh, Molly, we lost you.
Okay. Not just me. Okay. Okay. Well, Molly.
Oh no.
Okay.
There you are.
I am here. I am here. Hold on. I'm going to tether to my phone just in case.
Okay. Yeah. So this is my first experience with Tumblr. So I'm really excited to hear about it. I'm all ears. Have you've never used it either, Tom?
I've never used it. Never, not once in my life. I I know about it. I've seen it around, but I've never actually used it. I didn't even know it was for microblogging. Like I didn't even know that it was like a almost replica of Twitter.
This is good info. You back, Molly?
No.
Okay. All right.
And unfortunately, I didn't read that chapter, so I have no idea
I'm looking at it now. It's not a long chapter. Okay. Now.
Oh, Molly, are you back?
All right.
Hopefully I'm back. It's just like a very low signal.
All right.
So big piece of text, very intimidated. Microblogging, the concept of being able to send out those short little snippets of information. So we migrated then away from WordPress, created its own platform, but now you're seeing, instead of the people who hang out on WordPress, which is a traditional blogging platform, they're going to write, they're the text-based masters, right? Microblogging is more along the lines of what we're now used to in social media. Short, one sentence. Facebook used to be called Vague Book. Remember that? Instagram posts where we had a caption limit and we could only write little things. And a lot of people on Instagram way back in the day used to just post pictures. They didn't even have the captions in them. So that's the kind of world that Tumblr's created, the way of communicating. There isn't a caption limit. There's no limits in that sense. It was just the way of amalgamating things. And so as you're scrolling through your timeline, it's more along the lines of what we're seeing now, where it's a collection of different things. It's not chronological the way that Facebook started out being. It's more of what we see now, that algorithm that's going to mix and mingle based on what we were interested in previously, who we're following, etc., etc. So I found that really fascinating because I discounted Tumblr entirely when I walked into this chapter. But within a few pages, I realized it actually set the stage for what we all do now on multiple platforms. And so I'm writing a bunch of video essays for my YouTube channel. And the first one that I'm working on right now is on one of my favorite communications theorists, Marshall McLuhan, and looking at how his work and his theories from the 60s are relevant to this day, and updating his communication theories to the digital age. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's what's happened, is all of these platforms that we're reading from 10 years ago from Gary Vee, there's been so much mixing and merging and melding. And I don't just mean Facebook now owns Instagram, but what I mean is the functionality. We now see on YouTube Shorts, right? We have YouTube Shorts. Those used to be called Instagram Reels, right? Like that's where we used to see them. Some people will even refer to them as just TikToks across the board for all of those short-term videos. Looking at how we're utilizing text, we're utilizing video, we're utilizing captions and all of that. And I thought that was really fascinating because that sets Tumblr apart from the other platforms back in the day, but it also is a highlight of what they're all doing now. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Speaking
It
of
was
shorts,
Yeah.
sorry, what were you saying?
I was just going to say that Yahoo bought Tumblr in 2013.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For $1.1 billion.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beauty.
Wow.
No, but it's funny because like I know a lot of creators that shorts are still powerful, and I'm going to use shorts as I'm just going to use the term across the board here. Shorts are powerful, but I feel like they started to die in and around the beginning of this year because people, and I get this complaint all the time. Oh, I put out all these shorts, I put out all these videos, and I'm not getting a single message. I'm not booking a single call from it. I'm not doing anything. Like, I think people are starting to realize the volatility aspect of them, that you do them because you still need to upkeep a portfolio, but you have to do it with the intention of just upkeeping the portfolio. Now, YouTube started the short game, and then what happened almost immediately after? Now Instagram is back to photos and carousels, and they're telling their viewers, oh, don't focus so much on the reels anymore. So it's I think people are starting to realize that short form content doesn't actually get you paid, and there's a small percentage of the population that actually gets you paid. Like this is just like, I want you to think for a moment, and this is not just for my co-hosts here, but for everybody watching and everybody that's going to be watching down the road. Think back, how many videos have you put out in, let's say, the last 3 months? And in that 3-month period, with your call to actions, ask yourself, how many people actually care to talk more about your product or service? Because I can tell you, if you're posting 5 times a week, I can't see you getting more than 5 inquiries, if not 0. So this is another reason why I shifted over to YouTube, because I knew that if I'm going to create content, and I'm going to create content with humility, I'm going to make YouTube my client. I'm going to make YouTube pay me. Not so that way, if YouTube is paying me, I can give out information. I can have fun doing what I'm doing, and I don't have to worry about whether you're jumping in on my services or not. Do I want you to still, utilize me as your video Jedi? 100%. Absolutely. But I now use short form content literally just as a portfolio, because I don't make money from it. And I can guarantee you almost don't either.
It's the point that he makes in the title of this book. Jab, jab, jab. Jabs are your brand awareness. But you have to understand that when you're posting content, not every piece of content that you post shouldn't be a right hook.
Yeah.
It should be awareness. Hey, this is what I have to offer. Awareness, inspiration. Hey, check this out, what I'm offering, And there's the brand awareness, and then there's more the direct response that requires an action from your audience. And you made a good point there, Lefty. From there is a ratio of impressions, and we've talked about this through the Daryl Eves book, and how it starts at the top. Your funnel starts at the top with the number of impressions. So you have to put out a number of pieces of content to get the impressions, and from there you're going to get the click-throughs, and then that number gets smaller. And from the click-throughs, you get people that engage or comment and actually watch it through. And then that number gets smaller, that number gets smaller. So you have to put out more pieces of content. Maybe people don't realize that. They think they're going to put out a short, and then it's like, see the cash register ring. But this game I like that though, actually. I like that.
It's just a portfolio.
Because it challenges you it gives you the ability to stand out, and being a great storyteller, it sends you to the laboratory, Lefty.
Well, yeah, of course. And I mean, like, I'm going to call the spade the spade. I'm going to say it as it is. I've been saying it for over a year now. And there's people that have been talking to me about this lately. And it's almost, and I've even been hearing it from the experts as well, too. Like when I go to AdWorld and all these events, and like, it's funny when I sit there and watch certain things, and then I'm also getting complaints from certain people, and I'm like, you should have just listened to me 6 months ago. You should have just listened to me a year ago. I've been saying this. You didn't want to listen. Now you're like, what do I do? Right? And I don't do it on purpose. I'm not like some future teller or anything, It's just like I don't know. It's just like I know. I guess like I know certain things based on how I want to build my business, and then somehow, some way, how I want to build my business is just on the right track of what everybody is doing. And then like I'm deemed like I'm kind of deemed like the village witch, burn me at the stake because I'm not telling people what's happening. And then 6 months later, it's actually happening. So, but look, like YouTube came out with shorts, right? But what's the prerequisite for shorts? 10 million total views in order to get paid on your shorts.
That's a lot of views.
Okay, you need to Instagram had a partnership program. They pulled the partnership program from the content that you would create as a creator. Okay, these people are not doing this to screw you. Stop playing the victim. You have to ask yourself, well, why is Instagram pulling the partnership program from Reels? Why is YouTube making it almost impossible to collect money off of shorts? Is it maybe because they know there's no money in them? So why are we focused so much on them?
Because they increase traction at the moment, because the algorithms are set up at the moment to spread shorts quicker. So like we've seen like 600% boost in subscriber numbers simply from not publishing any regular YouTube videos for the last 2 months, just doing shorts.
Your subscribers are blowing up, Molly.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. But let's come back to Pinterest and coming off of what Mark was talking about with the title of the book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. So Gary talks about this, where he says, like, on this platform, should you be jabbing more, or is this a right hook friendly platform? So here's what I want you to think. This is Tumblr. He says, don't be afraid to DJ other people's content by adding your own copy and posting to your blog as well. The easy shareability of content makes community building a cinch on Tumblr, which is cool. So that's the idea of repurposing other people's content. We see that now in when you can duet other people's stuff and you can respond that way, when you can stitch people in. Well, every platform has a different name for that, but working with other people's content. Back when I started on YouTube, a bazillion years ago, it feels like, when it was just me hanging out with my friends. I had this one friend, Sean Apollo in Michigan, I think. And he would release a video. He'd talk about something interesting. And it was just, hanging out in his room, old school YouTube video style. And then I would create a video that responded to that. And that's how we would continue our conversations back and forth. And I find that is a concept we really need to bring back, because social media if we want it to really stay social and not just be a whole bunch of publishing platforms, we need to be able to engage in that conversation back and forth. So when Gary talks about, utilize other people's content, add your flair to it, republish stuff and add your commentary, reframe it for your audience, I think that's brilliant. But he also here talks about how we want to, he says, Tumblr has always been more of a publishing platform than a consumption platform, but people do consume there, just at an incredibly rapid rate. That's why it's perfect for mobile. Because users can just scroll and scroll and scroll their feed and feed themselves an endless stream of beautiful, even haunting images. The jabbing possibilities should be obvious. Tell your story and create brand impressions through amazing art that highlights what makes your brand special. Tumblr is artsy, and so is the audience. It isn't crafty, scrapbooking middle America. It's urban loft, bike riding, iconic eyewear wearing America. Study the platform, figure out what people are looking for, and give it to them in the platform's native tongue. In Tumblr, he talks a lot about GIFs or GIFs or whatever you want to call them, as being that's the cool thing that attracted people back then. But I think right now, if we're always looking for those fundamentals of the platform, it's short form, deliverable, jab, jab, jab type of content. And every once in a while, you throw in that right hook. So I'd say it's maybe 8-2 or 4-1, no, 8-2 jabs to right hooks. Really, really increase the number of jabs on this platform and you'll be good. Yeah. Same advice carries through to your short form platforms. Do more jabbing, expect less right hooks.
Yeah, I love jabbing. I jab all the time. Absolutely.
If I was to say anything about jabs, they're more like pre-framing, pre-framing, pre-selling. And I think one of the best ways is to make your content really kind of, sometimes you overcoming those beliefs that your audience has, right? Yeah. And those are the jabs: pre-frame, set up. Yeah. Set up for the hook.
Okay. Yeah. As you say that, it makes me think like you're literally building the brick and mortar box that your business lives in. You're building. People are driving by, they're scrolling your content. They're driving by and they're seeing you're building something. And then finally you give them that right hook. Doors are open. Now you're open for business. And you gotta keep jabbing.
And that's the ROI. Lefty, you talk about how it's almost impossible to make money from the platform itself. And it's like you have to get 10 million views to get paid from ad revenue. But if you use it, it has a great long-term ROI when you're building an audience. And you're someone discovering you can lead to them following you somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Can lead to them finally reaching that what we call a trust tipping point, where that trust tipping point where they they make a transaction with you, and then you're able. So if you are going on these platforms just to make money from the platforms, you probably may not come out successful, right?
Like when look, right now I use shorts all the time, right? Like I'm still using them. I do a post once a day between Monday and Friday. I don't post on weekends. And like I said, if you are using it as just a portfolio builder, you will be further along than the rest of the creators that are there to try and actually get you in. Another thing that I'm noticing is a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but most people, what I've noticed is there's a pattern that they're going back to just talking about themselves, their daily lives, what they do, where they're having lunch. Like it's not about, the long posts still happen, but it's not so much in the long post of like, you click the see more button and it's like, oh, okay, I get it. In paragraph 37, they're finally pitching me on their coaching program, right? Like go back. If you really want social to be social, then just go back to start posting about you, right? And one thing that my grandfather taught me, who was like, this guy was a massive marketer, is he told me that if you get people to fall in love with you, you'll never be out of business.
He told you that when you were 18.
Yes, he did. If you get people to fall in love with you, you will never be out of business, because at that point, they're not even going to care as much whether your competition even has a better product or solution than the one that you have, but they will like you and they will be loyal to you and they will stick with you through and through. So let's stop with the constant bombarding of a relatable truth to go back to why I should purchase your $10,000 coaching program. Just talk to me about the Burger King experience that you had. That's what I want to care about. Tell me about the time you crapped yourself at the Goo Goo Dolls concert. Like, these are things that are going to make me want to be more interested in you.
Yeah, and they spark conversation. And it's interesting you said that, Lefty. You're observant with what you're seeing on social media. But it's interesting because I'll post something and then they'll comment that starts a conversation, but then they'll say, hey, I've been meaning to reach out to you because I've seen what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you transfer that conversation or that other completely off-topic subject into a relationship where they've always been interested in you. They've always been following you and seeing your trail, and you've been building up, those jabs, that content, that as you called it, Lefty, that content, that just portfolio. You could call jabs portfolio. And so it's making an impact. And then they see you having dinner, they reach out to you, and then KO.
That's it. And I made a post about it yesterday where I said, I shouldn't have to convince you that my product is better than my competitors. I shouldn't have to convince you that my product or service is going to get you the results. I shouldn't have to convince you that the money is worth the investment. And what I said immediately after that is that if I have to convince you that my product is better, then it's a lack of capability on your end, not my end. So if you have a lack of faith in your business, then nobody's product or service is going to be the right one for you, because you're never going to think that you're going to be able to achieve those results. It stems from you first. If you have a lack of faith in your business, I can give you stats till I'm blue in the face. You're still not going to buy. So have faith in your business, have faith in your capabilities, and then you'll be able to make better decisions and you'll be able to make quicker and easier buying purchases. But if I'm turning around to you and saying, hey, I can give you a promotional ad. Hey, this is what the cost per lead is going to cost you, because we've had results, or we've gotten our cost per lead down to almost like 40 cents, right? I can get you, 200 leads, for example, in a campaign in 30 days, which is more than enough for you to close on. If you don't have the faith that your business can actually close that, then that's on you. That's not on me. So I can't convince you of that.
Oh yeah, we could go into that, but I know that's like a completely different topic. We still have one more chapter left.
Well, let's go on Twitter. Let's talk about
Twitter.
So, I have 3 takeaways.
Okay.
I believe I have 3 takeaways. I know I have 2 for sure. First takeaway, freedom of speech. You can just walk in, say whatever you want. That's honestly what I love about Twitter. You can be a sweetheart, or you can be an a-hole. Whatever you want, that's the beauty of Twitter. Don't be an a-hole, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Secondly, the freedom also to just be able to jump into any conversation where nobody is going to make you feel like, whoa, where did this guy just all of a sudden come from? Right? That you can literally just jump in on any conversation at any point in time, and you're always welcomed into that conversation, where you can't really do that on Facebook because it's more cliquey, I feel. And it's like when a random person just shows up in your comments, you automatically question why they're there, where they came from, right? The third thing, which is a massive one, is customer service. People have actually used Twitter to call out bigger brands, whatever the bigger brand is, because they know that the response time is quicker on Twitter by just going at Coca-Cola, at Nike, at Fashion Nova, at whatever else, because they know that these companies now have like a designated Twitter team that if a complaint comes through and they're being tagged, it's an immediate response, as opposed to you having to email, you don't hear anything back for 3 weeks, you've missed your guarantee deadline, and now you're stuck with something that you don't want anymore. So those are the ones that I found to be like really, really amazing. And the fact that Twitter, the hashtags are a huge thing for Twitter. They're still around till this day, where everybody feels like hashtags are dead everywhere else. Hashtags still play a crucial role in Twitter, and that's because we use hashtags as trending topics, and we use them to push narrative essentially on Twitter. Now, before you were limited to, I think, like, I don't know, it's like 60 or 100 characters. I didn't read that far, but you're given a lot more wiggle room and a lot more space to post nowadays on Twitter, on top of adding an image or a video. Because I know that when you used to add a video on Twitter, it would take up your text space, right? So sometimes you're only able to put up the video as the text, but nobody wants to click on a random link, right? That's weird. So now you're able to like create this really awesome, cool post with more characters and just have at it and keep at it. I personally got back onto Twitter. I'm not using it as much as I would like to. But that's also because like I'm trying to be more mindful of what platforms I'm using now. It's not, for me, it's not about be everywhere. It's about being in the right places. So I don't have to be on 82 different platforms. I picked my top 3, and those are the ones that I want to stick with.
I actually read this chapter, and one of the biggest things that I got out of a couple things that I took away from this chapter, right? He calls Twitter the cocktail party of the internet. The cocktail party, and Twitter is where you go for news. Twitter is you talked about it being an open conversation where you can just jump into any conversation. So think about being at a cocktail party and just joining in a group of people that you see and just having a conversation. That's how it's different than a lot of other social platforms, because like, say, for example, like Facebook, you're mostly fed, feeds from your friends, and you basically interact with friends. On Twitter, it gives you the opportunity. I think Gary V said, I'm an out, but it's an extrovert. I was going to say an outrovert, but I'm an extrovert. So I think he said he really Twitter is his. He makes it his slave because outrovert, cocktail party, being able to trade things. And one tip that I heard him say in this chapter, I thought was I might try and kind of emulate a little bit, was his launch jacking, or his trend jacking.
Yeah.
He talked about the trend jacking and how you should take advantage of the trending topics by injecting yourself into those conversations by somehow relating it back to you and your brand. The examples he gave, I think he gave an example of a Super Bowl, and it was a really clever post from Twix, and they no, there was one, I don't remember if it was Facebook or not, but when the lights went out at the Super Bowl that one year, and then Oreo cookie,
that was Oreo.
that you can still dunk in the dark.
Yep.
You can still dunk in the dark. Remember that Super Bowl where the lights went out for like an hour or something, and they just capitalized. So if you can inject, and look, Oreos have nothing to do with the Super Bowl, but they were able to inject themselves in those current trends and the trending topics. And I thought, that's interesting. Find some correlation between those two and inject yourself with some anecdotes there. That's it.
Yeah. And the questions to ask is it to the point? Is the hashtag unique and memorable? Is the image attached high quality? Does the voice sound authentic? And will it resonate with the Twitter audience? Because as much as I love the idea of repurposing, it doesn't work as well as you may think it does, because every platform has a different language. So we spoke about this in a previous event where you gotta still create content for that platform's love language. If you are, so I can put out my reels on LinkedIn and I'm gonna get diddly squat. It's not because they don't like what I have to say. They don't like how I'm presenting it. So you have to figure out a way to make it different, not put out a video if that's what it's asking for, put out an image instead, or put out text. So understand that, yes, repurposing is a fantastic tool, but if you're just that person that creates one piece of content and then just distributes it along every single platform in the same exact way that you did it for the initial one, you're not going to get the traction that you're looking for.
Yes. I think I'm looking for it, but there was one sentence that I read here, and it really summed up what Gary Vee feels about brands making the big mistake. And he says that they make the mistake of treating social media more as a dump for their content, rather than speaking the language of that platform. I'll have to find that quote and then show it to you. But I was reading last night, and I got nerdy because I got my library card, and they have good books at the library. but I will find that quote and then read it.
Fabulous. Well, my friends, it is time to wrap up today's episode of the Book Club. It's been a lot. We've learned a lot. We've had a lot of good conversation, and you can always continue the conversation with us in the comments section. You can always join us over in the Visibility Hackers Facebook group as well, and we can keep this conversation going. And of course, shameless plug for all 3 of our YouTube channels. We got The Mental Marketer, Create with Lefty, and Visibility Hackers. These are 3 fantastic channels that really complement each other in what we talk about. And a lot of what we talk about here in the book club, you're going to see how we actually implement that on our channels and in our group. So come join us, be part of the journey, be part of the community, and let's make social media a bit more social again. Let's
I love it.
That is at CREATEWITHLEFTY.
You lost me after 18.
All right, my friends. Wave goodbye to the people. Be excellent to each other.
Love this.
Next week, Instagram.
Yes.
Heck yeah. And we have already started talking about Instagram in the last few episodes. So we're going to devote an entire episode just to our favorite visual platform. So until we see you again, same bat time, same bat channel, be excellent.